Alright guys, it's Charlie Tango 1994 back with another YouTube video. CB radio and the law. Here are some questions regarding CB radio and the law. How is CB radio defined in law? CB radio functions within the 27 MHz band and is a short-range radio service for either business or personal use. It is permitted to be used by anyone without the need for technical qualifications as long as it does not cause interference to other radio users. Therefore, only radios which meet specific requirements are permitted to be used. Why has Ofcom deregulated the use of CB radio equipment? Ofcom deregulated the use of CB radio equipment to reduce the regulatory burden for both CB radio users and the Ofcom themselves. Since a license to operate a CB radio is no longer required, it is not necessary to contact Ofcom in order to apply for and to subsequently maintain a CB radio license, and it is no longer necessary to pay for a new license each year. Is CB radio legal to use without a license? Since the 8th of December 2006, it is no longer necessary to hold a WT Act license in order to operate CB radio equipment, as long as it is used in accordance with the requirements of the WT Regulations 2006, which came into force on that day. These regulations, on which Ofcom consulted in June 2006, exempt CB radio equipment users from the need to hold a WT Act license. The use of CB radio equipment which is not consistent with these regulations will however be considered an offence. CB radio users share a spectrum which is in a frequency band managed by the Ministry of Defence. This use is secondary to that of the MOD, the primary spectrum user, and it should be noted that CB radio users must be prepared to accept incoming interference caused by continuing use of this spectrum by the MOD. CB radio users must understand that CB radio equipment must be operated on a non-interference, non-protected basis, meaning that it must not interfere with or claim protection from any other radio services. The WT Content of Transmission Regulations 1988 make it an offence to use any station for wireless telegraphy or any wireless telegraphy apparatus to send a message, communication or other matter in whatever form that is grossly offensive or of an indecent, obscene or menacing nature. If you're new to this channel and would like to see more CB related videos, feel free to hit the subscribe button below and watch out for new videos uploaded every Wednesday. If you enjoy my videos, don't forget to hit the like button or leave me a note in the comments section. Also, if you're new to CB radio, watch this video through to the end to find out more about the free gift I offer to all of my subscribers. Is it illegal to use a CB or two-way radio whilst driving? It is an offence to use a handheld mobile phone or an interactive communications device, but there is an exception for a two-way radio which is designed or adapted for the purposes of transmitting and receiving spoken messages and operates on any frequency other than 880 MHz to 915 MHz, 925 MHz to 960 MHz, 1710 MHz to 1785 MHz, 1805 MHz to 1880 MHz, 1900 MHz to 1980 MHz, or 2110 MHz to 2170 MHz. Ofcom states that you should be transmitting CB in the 27 MHz range. If you are, you come within the exception and are okay. The exception was created because so many government and private organisations, e.g. taxis, use two-way radios. However, there is strong scientific evidence that any such activity, including fiddling with your CD player, etc., does raise the level of danger, so far as accidents are concerned. So it is recommended that you do whatever you can to minimise use of transmitter buttons, tuning devices and volume controls. If something akin to hands-free exists, it would be a good idea. Even if the device you are using does not fall within the mobile phone legislation, with or without hands-free, if you can't control your vehicle properly or are driving badly, you can be prosecuted for not being in proper control of your vehicle, careless driving or dangerous driving. The latter two offences carry much higher penalties. If you kill someone in an accident caused by phoning or texting or using a CB, etc., you can expect a lengthy sentence of imprisonment. What type of CB radio equipment can be legally used? Radio equipment must be compliant with the UK interference requirement IR 2027 and conform with the essential requirements of the Radio Equipment and Telecommunications Terminal Equipment Directive. Equipment will have appropriate markings, such as the CE mark, for radio equipment placed on the market under the type approval regime prior to 8th of April 2001. The equipment must have previously been type approved. UK interference requirements provide a high-level description of spectrum use, frequency range, channel spacing, output power, where appropriate a technology to be used, licensing regime, etc. CB users must ensure that they use only type approval equipment or equipment conforming with the essential requirements of the RNTTE directive and in compliance with IR 2027. CB radio equipment that has formally been type approved and will necessarily comply with the minimum requirements of the relevant UK interference requirement may continue to be used. Such equipment will have been type approved to MPT 1320, MPT 1333, MPT 1382 or ETS 300-135. Please note that the specification MPT 1320, known as 2781, and MPT 1333 have been withdrawn, but equipment type approved to these specifications may continue to be used for the lifetime of the equipment. Typical markings of radio equipment that conform with regulatory requirements is shown here. The performance specification MPT 1333 was withdrawn in January 1995, and no equipment type approval that specification is permitted to be manufactured or imported from that date. This specification has been superseded by ETS 300-135. Users of equipment type approved to either MPT 1320 or MPT 1333 may continue to use their equipment for its foreseeable useful life. MPT 1382 has been revised to permit any combination of the existing 40 UK channels and the 40 SEP channels. This allows for up to a maximum of 80 channels within one set. Equipment based on this revised specification will be strictly for use in the UK only. Can I use converted equipment? You may not use equipment that has been altered in any way which may invalidate conformance with UK interface requirement or type approval specification. This includes radios that have been fitted with proprietary conversion boards. Converted equipment may not meet the specification and can cause interference to other radio users. Which modes of modulation may be used? The use of either frequency modulation, FM, or phase modulation, PM, is permitted. The use of amplitude modulation, AM, or single sideband modulation, SSB, has been permitted since 27th June 2016, providing that they conform to the technical specifications referred to in IR 2027.2. What is the maximum power allowed? The maximum transmitter RF carrier power output allowed for FM and AM modulation is 4 watts and 12 watts for SSB. The use of power amplifiers to boost output power above the legal limit is illegal. Is 934 MHz still available for CB use? The performance specification MPT 1321, to which 934 MHz CB transmitters were manufactured, was withdrawn in 1988. No new sets were manufactured from that date, and no sets were imported. From the 1st of January 1999, the use of 934 MHz CB equipment has been prohibited. Can I use my CB radio abroad? You will not be permitted to use CB equipment which incorporates the UK channels 27.60125 to 27.99125, i.e. UK channels 1 to 40, abroad. Use of CB equipment abroad with EU channels only, as denoted and based on ETS 300-135, is likely to be permitted, but prior to travelling you must check with the administration of the country concerned whether it may be used and whether any conditions apply. When operating abroad, you must comply with the conditions of authorisation of the country which you are visiting. Hope you enjoyed watching this video, and as a thank you to you, particularly if you're new to CB Radio or returning to it after many years, I've put together a free information series called The Beginner's Guide to CB Radio, which I'm sharing with all of my subscribers. To find out more, click the link in the top right corner now.